Lesson 4: Sentence Fragments. In the previous lectures, we have discussed the types of sentences in the English language, starting by the simple sentence and its patterns, and then moving to the compound sentence, the complex sentence, and the compound complex sentence. In all these types, the sentence starts with a capital letter and ends in a full stop. This is the beginning and the end of the sentence. Today we'll speak about sentence fragments. Fragments are a problem in writing. Many good writers know how to write sentences, but when they put them in a text, they produce fragments. The meaning of the word fragment is a piece of something. Here we mean a piece of a sentence, which looks like a sentence, but in reality it's not. There is something missing in it. We'll learn in this lesson how to find the fragments in our writing, to identify them, and how to correct them. So let's see fragments in reality, in real text. This is a paragraph. Let's read it. Helen is a teacher of mathematics, a highly technical subject. She uses several interesting books when she prepares her lessons. She gives her students much practice on complex topics to help them understand the theories. At present, Helen is spending 1 week in the capital, attending a seminar. The most important thing for her is that her students learn better. When we listen to someone reading this paragraph, it sounds correct. But when we look at how it is written and punctuated, we'll detect some fragments. Helen is a teacher of mathematics, a highly technical subject. Look at the underlined part. The writer has written a capital letter at the beginning and a full stop at the end, as if it is a sentence. But if we look at its structure, we'll find that it is only a piece of a sentence, not a sentence. So the problem is in the way we write it, the way we write this group of words, and the way we link it to the previous or the following groups. She uses several interesting books when she prepares her lessons. Look at this underlined part. When she prepares her lessons, it is punctuated as a sentence. It starts with a capital letter and ends in a full stop. But when we read it, we'll find that it is only a subordinate clause. We continue. She gives her students much practice, a good sentence, on complex topics. Here again we have the problem of a fragment. Normally on complex topics is just the rest of the previous sentence. There shouldn't be a separation. We shouldn't write it as a complete sentence, while it is not. The same problem in to help them understand the theories. It starts with a capital letter and ends in a full stop. It should be just attached to the previous part. We continue. At present, Helen is spending 1 week in the capital. Here we have a verb that seems to be in the progressive or the continuous form, but the auxiliary, the helping verb, is missing. We can never find a gerund used alone as the main verb of a sentence. This is considered as a fragment as well, one of the types of fragments. And then, attending a seminar, again we have a problem of a group of words which doesn't contain the main parts of a sentence, but it looks like a sentence. Here we have to make some corrections to this paragraph in order to fix the sentences and to eliminate the fragments. Now let's try to see how they were corrected. Helen is a teacher of mathematics. Second box. Comma, a highly technical subject. So we change the full stop into a comma, and we transform the capital letter into a small letter. She uses several interesting books when she prepares her lessons. This is a complex sentence. We shouldn't divide its parts. the fragment is just the second part of the sentence. She gives her students much practice on complex topics. On complex topics is a phrase which is related to the previous part to help them understand the theories. This is the purpose. So in order to fix these two fragments, we just dropped the capital letter and the full stop and changed the capital letters into small letters. Notice that sometimes we use a comma and sometimes we don't use it. This is related to the type of fragment. We continue. At present, Helen is spending 1 week in the capital. So we add the helping verb according to the time of the action, past or present, to the gerund in order to have a complete main verb. Then attending a seminar, we just attach it to the previous part with a comma and we drop the capital letter. Here our paragraph is correct. All the sentences are correct and the paragraph doesn't contain any fragment. Now starting with this example, we can define a fragment. A fragment is part of a sentence, like a subordinate clause, or a phrase, a noun phrase, or an infinitive phrase. Written as a complete sentence, the writer uses a capital letter at the beginning and a full stop at the end. So it starts with a capital letter and ends with a full stop, but it is not complete. Here, what is between the capital letter and the full stop is not a complete sentence. It is a mistake in writing, and we must avoid it. In order to be able to correct fragments, we should first know their types. The first type is the present participial phrase, like the one used in this example, the dog barking at a stranger. Barking is a present participial phrase. What is missing here is the auxiliary to be. In order to correct it, we just add this auxiliary, and of course we have to respect the tense, whether it is in the past, the present, or the future. We say, for instance, the dog was barking at a stranger. The second type of fragment is a past participial phrase, or a phrase which starts by a past participle of the verb. Like here, we examine the building, burned by fire. Burned by fire is a past participial phrase. It shouldn't be capitalized and punctuated as it is here. In order to correct it, we drop the full stop and the capital letter. We examine the building burned by fire. Here we use a comma because burned by fire is not an essential part of the sentence. It is a kind of extra information. The third type of fragments is the gerund phrase, the VING phrase. For example, Sue dislikes working in the kitchen, cleaning and scrubbing objects. Here, this cannot stand by itself. It should be attached to the previous part of the sentence. We drop the full stop and the capital letter. We say Sue dislikes working in the kitchen, comma, cleaning and scrubbing objects. A gerund phrase is a phrase which starts with a gerund. The next type is the infinitive phrase. It is a phrase which starts with an infinitive, to plus verb. For example, you must work hard to find a solution to this problem. It shouldn't be written this way. We have to drop the capital letter and the full stop and write the infinitive at the end of the sentence without a comma. The prepositional phrase. The swimming pool is on the left side of the road, inside the stadium. Here, inside the stadium is a prepositional phrase. It starts with a preposition like in, on, inside, out, etc. We correct it by dropping the full stop and we change the capital into a small letter. The swimming pool is on the left side of the road inside the stadium. Next, we have the appositive. Everybody knows Mike, the best mechanic in the garage. Here, the appositive is the best mechanic in the garage. The appositive is part of a sentence which gives more information about a previous noun. We correct this by dropping the full stop and the capital letter and attaching the appositive to the previous part of the sentence. Here we say everybody knows Mike, the best mechanic in the garage. Here Mike and the best mechanic in the garage are appositives. The last type of fragments is the subordinate clause, which is punctuated as a sentence. For example, I refused the work offered to me because the machines were dangerous. Here, because the machines were dangerous is a subordinate clause. It cannot stand by itself alone. It shouldn't be punctuated as a sentence. We drop the capital and the full stop and we attach it to the previous part of the sentence. Sometimes we attach the subordinate clause to the following part of the sentence. It depends on meaning. We have to look at the whole text and see whether we attach it to the previous part or the following part. Here is an exercise in which you test yourself. You have two paragraphs which contain fragments. Try to correct the fragments in the following paragraphs. You find them first, you underline them, and then you try to fix the problem by changing capitalization and punctuation. Be careful when using commas. Some fragments need commas before them while others do not need commas. This depends on their type. To know this, just refer to the types and see the examples again.